They secured $14 trillion in 30 minutes, zero American casualties. On January 3rd, 2026, at exactly 2:01 in the morning, American special forces landed in Caracas and captured Venezuelan dictator Nicolás Maduro. The operation lasted less than half an hour. Nobody saw it coming. And when the sun rose over the Caribbean, the geopolitical map of the Western Hemisphere had been redrawn forever. But what the headlines didn't tell you was the real prize, $14.3 trillion worth of resources, the largest strategic acquisition in modern American history. And the question everyone is asking now is simple. Was it worth it?
The story begins not in January 2026 but 5 months earlier, in August 2025, when a small team of CIA operatives slipped quietly into Venezuela. Their mission was simple: watch Maduro, learn his patterns, his routines, where he slept, what he ate, when he moved. For 5 months they watched, patiently, meticulously, building a picture so complete that General Dan Kane would later say they knew the location of Maduro's pets. Every detail mattered, because in modern warfare the difference between success and failure is measured in intelligence preparation. The ratio was 1,200 hours of observation to less than 3 hours of action, and that patience would prove to be the key. While the CIA watched Maduro, the Pentagon prepared for war. Back in the United States, Delta Force and other special operations units were doing something extraordinary. They built a perfect replica of Maduro's compound, every room, every wall, every reinforced door. They practiced the raid over and over, timing how long it would take to breach each barrier, where the guards would be positioned, how Maduro would try to reach his safe room. They rehearsed until the operation became muscle memory, until every operator could execute their role blindfolded. This was not a hastily planned strike. This was months of preparation compressed into a single flawless execution. By late August, the United States began positioning its military assets. The USS Gerald R. Ford, America's most advanced aircraft carrier, entered the Caribbean Sea. Along with it came a strike group of destroyers, submarines, and support vessels, over 4,500 sailors and marines. The message was clear: America was serious. The buildup served a dual purpose. It tested Venezuelan reaction times, it established legal precedent through drug interdiction operations, and it provided the logistical backbone for what was coming. The operation was designated Southern Spear, and it would become the foundation for absolute resolve. In December, 1 week before Christmas, President Trump made a personal phone call to Maduro. The conversation was direct: surrender peacefully or face the consequences. Maduro hesitated. Trump later said he was almost ready to agree, but in the end the dictator refused. That refusal sealed his fate. Trump authorized the operation on December 19. The plan was set for Christmas Day. But then Nigeria happened. On Christmas morning Trump ordered airstrikes in Nigeria in response to attacks on Christians. The Venezuelan operation had to wait. The military couldn't execute 2 major operations simultaneously, so they waited, and then came the second delay: the weather. Caracas was covered in clouds and wind, visibility was poor, flight conditions dangerous. Trump told Fox News they were ready to go 4 days earlier, but the weather wasn't perfect, and for an operation this precise, perfect wasn't optional, it was mandatory. Friday night, January 2nd, the weather finally broke. The moon was full, the skies mostly clear, flight conditions acceptable. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time, Trump gave the final order. He told the military commanders good luck and God's blessing, and those words were relayed down the entire chain of command, from the White House to the carrier group to the helicopters waiting in the darkness. The operation was go. 150 aircraft launched from 20 different bases across the Western Hemisphere. The coordination was unprecedented. F-22 Raptors provided air superiority, F-35 Lightning fighters conducted suppression of enemy air defenses, B-1 Lancer bombers struck Venezuelan airbases, EA-18 Growlers jammed communications, and beneath it all, flying just 100 feet above the water, came the helicopters, MH-60 Black Hawks and MH-47 Chinooks carrying Delta Force operators and FBI hostage rescue team members toward their target. At the same moment, America's cyber warriors went to work. Venezuelan air defense systems went dark, radar screens flickered and died, communication networks collapsed, and then the lights went out. Across Caracas darkness fell. Trump later explained that America possessed certain capabilities that allowed them to control the electrical grid, and they used those capabilities to maximum effect. The city was blind, defenseless. Perfect conditions for what came next. At 2:01 a.m. local time, the helicopters descended on Maduro's compound, despite taking ground fire that damaged one aircraft. The assault team landed precisely on target. They had massive blowtorches ready to cut through reinforced safe rooms, but they didn't need them. Maduro was apprehended before he could secure himself. Within 30 minutes both he and First Lady Cilia Flores were in custody. By 3:29 a.m. Eastern Time, the extraction force was over water with both prisoners aboard the USS Iwo Jima. The operation was complete, 0 American deaths, 0 equipment lost, flawless execution. But here's what matters to you: this wasn't just a military operation, this was an economic revolution, because what America just secured will change your life in ways you haven't even realized yet. Imagine waking up tomorrow and gas prices have dropped not by cents but by dollars. Imagine filling your tank for $30 instead of $70. That's not fantasy. That's what happens when America controls 303 billion barrels of oil, the largest proven reserves in the world. 17 to 20% of all the oil on Earth. Venezuela's oil fields are bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Iran, bigger than Iraq. Here's where it gets interesting for your wallet. Analysts estimate rebuilding will require between $77 and $110 billion over the next decade, and American oil companies including Chevron, ExxonMobil, and ConocoPhillips are leading the charge. But this isn't just about oil company profits, this is about job creation on a massive scale: oil field workers, pipeline engineers, refinery operators, logistics specialists, construction crews, tens of thousands of American jobs, all flowing from the resources we just secured. Now let's talk about your tax dollars. Analysts project that within 5 years the revenue from Venezuelan resources will exceed the entire cost of Operation Absolute Resolve. Within 10 years we're looking at returns that dwarf the investment. Every dollar spent on this operation generates $14 in strategic value. Your tax dollars didn't disappear into another endless conflict. They purchased generational wealth for America. They secured the energy independence of your children and grandchildren. But there's something even bigger at stake here. Venezuela's Orinoco mining arc contains an estimated 300,000 metric tons of rare earth elements: neodymium, dysprosium, thorium. These are the minerals that make your smartphone work, that power electric vehicles, that drive AI technology, and right now China controls 80 to 90% of global rare earth refining. They have a monopoly on the technology of the future, until now, because by securing access to Venezuela's rare earth deposits valued between $200 and $500 billion, America just broke China's stranglehold on critical supply chains. This operation wasn't about regime change, it was about securing America's position for the next 50 years. Think about what we prevented: a hostile regime 90 miles from our coast, aligned with China, Russia, and Iran. Imagine if we had waited. Imagine if 10 years from now Chinese military bases were operating in Venezuela. Imagine if Russian nuclear weapons were stationed in the Caribbean. That's where this was heading, and President Trump said no, not on my watch. To this day, the full details of Operation Absolute Resolve remain classified, but what we know is this: in less than 30 minutes, at a cost that will pay for itself within 5 years, the United States secured $14.3 trillion in strategic resources, broke Chinese monopolies, removed hostile actors from the Western Hemisphere, positioned itself for energy dominance for the next 50 years, created tens of thousands of American jobs, and restored hope to 30 million people. It was written in the darkness over Caracas on a Friday night in January 2026, when American forces proved that the right mission, executed perfectly, can change the world.